Hey everyone, Tim Stoddard here, and in today's video, we are going to review some of the announcements that Google just made in Google Marketing Live and some updates to their ad platform and their AI platform. Definitely watch this video if you plan on advertising on Google anytime in the near future, and if you want to get a better return on your ad spend. Let's dive right in. Okay, so we're going to start this video with an interesting conversation I had. I actually wrote about it in my newsletter yesterday, and I'll just break down basically what the newsletter says. But I had a conversation with a team at Google. I spend a lot of money on Google Ads, and so when you spend a lot of money, they give you basically an account rep to help you manage your account to get the most out of your ads because they want me to keep spending a lot of money, right? And and recently, Google announced the voluntary severance program. This is basically a humane way of laying people off. You're sort of saying that we're going to do layoffs, and instead of us just cutting everybody out, we're going to offer you something like a month or 2 months worth of pay to leave voluntarily. But what happens here is you have to be really methodical about it because if you make these announcements to everybody, well, you actually lose all of your best people because the best people are the ones that have like the most demand on themselves. And so they can easily go to a competitor, demand more money than they're making where they're at now, take the severance package and bounce. And so you only announce these kind of things to certain departments. And in Google's case, they announced that they are trimming down their search team. And to me, the reason is pretty obvious and it's because of AI. And so when I'm on this meeting yesterday, our account rep, she was the head of something about algorithms for the ad platform. I made a joke in the meeting and I said, "Hey, if you're going to be our account rep, you better not take the voluntary severance." And she said, "Don't worry, my team is growing." And I've been thinking about that all day yesterday. And then yesterday, I even got the email from Google with the announcement on a review of Google Marketing Live 2025. This is their yearly conference where they make announcements of all the improvements that they're making. And so after this conversation, I really thought like, damn, I better continue to improve my skills on advertising because this is going to be a skill set that's going to have like a whole lot of value now and also in the future. And so I thought it would be pertinent for us to review the announcements that Google made. We'll look at some examples and we'll go through the detail. So we have the actual announcement page here, and I've also put a lot of these improvements in an outline. So you will, of course, have this outline if you want it. Just click the link in the description of this video, go to File, make a copy, and then you will have this to yourself. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Power Pack campaigns. Power Pack is really, really interesting. And Power Pack is a part of Performance Max. So Performance Max is like one of my favorite new Google products. And essentially what it is it allows Google to optimize ads for you and display ads within the particular platforms that it owns. So it's easy to see here. You see how it has all these little logos, right? So this is just Google Standard, Google Maps, Google Calendar, Gmail. I actually have no idea what this is. I think that's Gemini, and YouTube. And so when you create a Performance Max ad, you're basically giving Google some control over who they think the ad best fits for. So I do a lot of local ads and I use PMAX a lot, but I hyper localize everything. And so it's been really, really, really effective, right? So if we go here, combines Performance Max, which is what we talked about, AI Max for search, and demand gen into a single AI driven campaign solution. So demand gen is basically like it's a platform that lets you know what the demand for certain search queries are. And then on top of that, it is part of the Performance Max enhancements, right? So channel level reporting, this is still in beta, and this allows you to have reporting on the channel. So there's a difference between a channel and a campaign. The channel is basically like the platform, whether it's Google or Google Business or Gmail, right? And now you can break them down through Google Shopping. You can break them down through YouTube. You can break them down through display ads. Very, very cool. This is still in beta and it just gives you even more high level data. So campaign level negative keywords. This is pretty cool. You weren't really able to put negative keywords in Performance Max ads before. Negative keywords basically means you want to avoid your ad showing for when people search for these particular keywords. High value acquisition, targeting with customer match, brand and URL extensions. This is really, really important for UTM parameters, and demographic and device targeting. So if you want to learn more about Power Pack and about PMAX Performance Max, I highly recommend you read this article. This gives you the whole breakdown about how PMAX works, and it gives you a breakdown about how a lot of the performance updates to Performance Max are AI related. This is really cool. All right, so let's look at the next one, AI Max for search. Okay, so this right here is what I think is the most important because it's going to create a whole lot of changes that we don't necessarily know about. So right here, AI Max for search campaigns. This is what everybody's afraid of. This is what all the SEOs are afraid of, right? Because why am I going to bother creating content from my website if Google's not going to send any traffic to my website? If they're just going to basically steal my content, put it into their AI machine, and then use my content to create an AI rich result that leaves people on Google the whole time. Well, I think the Google is trying to get ahead of this a little bit. And so if we look at these improvements, we can see that Google is saying, although who knows what's going to happen, they're saying that in their AI Max, they're going to allow you to put ads in the actual AI result. So this is pretty cool. And I'm really interested what's going to happen here because it's like Google's going to have to sprinkle some organic search in here with the ads, or else they're going to get hit with a lawsuit. People are going to stop allowing Google to index their site if there's no purpose for it. You know, it's a fine line here because if Google is going to be using everybody else's content to create these AI search results and then not only bringing people into Google, which is within itself a bit of a problem for content creators, but then all of a sudden Google is going to be able to monetize that content through ads without having the relationship, by sending some of that traffic to the actual page that generated the content in the first place. I don't know. I really have no idea. Okay, let's take a look at what Google is doing for video. I think this is also very, very fascinating. I don't personally use video ads a lot just because a lot of the ads that I do are healthcare related, but video ads are a little bit more important for creators or for physical products like makeup or like kitchen sets, things that you can look at and touch and feel a little bit more. But in this section right here, so the future of video and apps, this is where you're going to see how Google is going to start using AI to put video ads in the organic search results. So right here is where I think is the coolest update. New video ads across Google services. Drive discovery with new brand forward video ads on surfaces like search and Google Shopping by adding high quality video assets to your PMAX campaigns. So when you create a PMAX account, you have to upload assets, and these assets are usually photos. These assets may be the content that you have on your Google business profile. It might be the Google business profile itself. It's something that like adds value to the ad. Now you can videos can now be assets, and Google will display your video ads in Performance Max as it sees fit. So it says that this is coming soon and it's still coming to US and California. This is like a pretty complicated rollout, mostly because videos just have so much more like bandwidth and memory. So I think they're gonna have to figure out exactly how to do that. But it's pretty cool. And then this one I think is pretty cool. Interactive shopping experience on CTV. This is live shopping, and Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this a lot. And I think he's onto something. I question how effective this is going to be, just because I don't know how many people are going to sit there and watch live shopping, although the data tells me that plenty of people are doing it in the same way that plenty of people watch streaming, right? Who would have thought that people would sit there and watch other people play video games? So who knows? This is something that I'm definitely keeping my eye on. Like I said, for me personally, I don't sell a lot of physical products, so I'm not so sure about that. And then more ads on YouTube, which I'm sure that we see. Okay. Lastly, reach advertisers on maps. People who really watch my content know that I'm still very, very bullish on local SEO. I think like long tail SEO is kind of dying, but local SEO is just as relevant as ever. But now, from some of the other stuff I've said or that I've read, this demand gen functionality is going to make it so that if you're looking for a local business, you can kind of vibe shop as the term that people are using it. So you could say like restaurant that has like a jazzy vibe, and you could put that into the AI search query and the Google business profiles that match what it is that you're searching for are going to be displayed. So it's not going to be only about location and profile optimization and reviews in the way that it was before. So I think all of this stuff is really, really, really cool. So basically, to recap, the question that I get asked the most, especially when people are joining the Launchpad, when I talk about directories or when I talk about on-site SEO is like, aren't you afraid that AI is going to kill all of this? And the honest answer is like, no, I don't think AI is killing anything. Everything changes, right? And so, as I've said before, like blogging probably isn't going to be generating the same amount of search traffic as it has in the past, and things change. But people are always going to be searching for answers to their questions. And just because AI can more clearly aggregate the data doesn't mean that the content you create on your website isn't going to make you an authority or somehow even through different links in the AI search platform as opposed to like the 10 blue links that we're used to seeing. It doesn't mean that that's still not going to drive traffic to your business. Google is highly, highly dependent on being able to drive traffic to your business, right? And so, like, if they can't do that anymore, they're out of business. It looks to me like they are trying very, very hard to make it so that these ad platforms and the Gemini search results continue to generate clicks elsewhere, especially locally and especially through AdWords, whether it's direct ad campaigns or PMAX campaigns. Does that mean that the 10 blue links are disappearing? I mean, maybe a little bit. I'm still seeing a ton of organic traffic to my websites. And so, like, when it dies, it dies. And I guess we'll know then. Until then, I'm not freaking out about anything. But I'm excited about all of these improvements. And it definitely tells me that I need to continue to stay up to date with these new tools and these new ad platform functionalities that are mixing AI in with them because it's only going to make me more money and it's only going to make me a stronger marketer. Great. Thank you so much for watching this video. Any questions, please leave in the comments. Please smash that subscribe button and I'll talk to you on the next one. See ya.